In this section, they want us to practice the art of moving things around in an equation so that you can isolate any variable. So the most common way that this is applied, at least in algebra, is to solve for y. So if you have an equation and you want to get y by itself, how do you do it? Well, I look at this entire left side of the equation and I see that y has some other things around it that we need to get rid of. It has this 3 and it has this 4x. Okay, well, just like when we solve a regular equation for x, you do the same thing. You have to remove the things that you don't want there one piece at a time in the inverse order of the way it was put on. So in this case, we do want to get rid of the 3, but since the 3 is multiplying the y, we're going to do that last. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract the 4x to the other side. Okay, so that leaves us with 3y is equal to 9 minus 4x. And then finally, what gets rid of that 3? Well, 3 is multiplying y, so to get rid of it, we divide, which is the inverse. So these cross out. So now we got y by itself is equal to 9 minus 4x divided by 3. Or more commonly, if we were to actually divide out the 3, 9 divided by 3 is 3, and then 4 divided by 3 doesn't go in, so we leave it as a fraction. All right, why don't you practice a few of these? I'll write them down right now. Monitoring progress. Again, you're going to solve for y. So the first one is 3y minus x is equal to 9. Okay, why don't you go ahead and try these problems, pause the video, and then when you're ready, unpause it, and you'll see the answers. All right, here are the solutions. Go ahead and pause it so you can check your answers. Okay, let's do one more example for today. Example 2. This time, they want us to solve for x. Okay, this one is tricky because you'll notice right away that there are 2 different x's. So how do you isolate when there's 2 of them? Well, the answer is that we can actually factor out the x from these 2 expressions. So you'll see that you have 3x and you have plus 5xz. Those 2 terms have x in common, which means I can factor out the x. So if you were to remove the x from both of the terms, you'll be left with 3 plus 5z. So now it's just a matter of getting rid of the 3 plus 5z factor, and we do that by dividing it on both sides. So our final answer is, once these cross out, x is by itself now, and it's equal to y divided by 3 plus 5z. Okay, let me give you 3 of these types to practice where you have to factor, and then that'll be it for today. So here's one. That one's kind of silly, actually, but you'll see why in just a second. Number 5, don't get thrown off because there's a bunch of letters in it. Just do the same thing that you always do. Okay, pause it, come back after you're done. Okay, here are the solutions. Just notice in number 6, we just had one extra step because we had to move the 3 to the other side first. but otherwise it's the same thing. And then for number 4, that one's just a silly problem because 5x minus 4x, you could combine those like terms into just 1x.